So, I want to ask briefly then about your opponent. I don't know a ton about him, but I do know he had that moment where he got, he got tear gassed, and people didn't buy it. So, give your thoughts on that.
Well, as someone who's been out there before him and will be out there long after him, I appreciate the effort. Uh, but this is really this lack of authenticity and this stunt making to score cheap points. It doesn't play. Especially, I have a daughter who's 20. If you've been on TikTok, it's a BS free zone, right? Like, people do not buy the lack of authenticity. They just don't want it. What they want is honest leaders they can trust. In some ways, Trump's base has been ride or die for him because they believe in his authenticity. I mean, even when he fails, he's still uniquely him, and his base trusts him to be that. I think on the left we have to be a little bit more courageous about electing bold leaders who are authentic, who are honest, who are accountable and connected to the community. And when someone like him pulls that stunt, I don't believe it resonates with Portlanders because they know it's phony. Especially when he was out there decrying police violence on the part of the federal government, even as for months prior, his police had been perpetrating the exact same violence against protesters, and they now are perpetrating it again. So, bookending that tear gassing stunt, his police were gassing people in the streets, and his
Right.
police were still gassing people in the streets, and he never says a word about it. And he
Yeah.
refuses to decry the violence in his own police. So any of us on the ground know that he's just kind of full of it on that front.
Well, are you gonna get to debate him? Like what's kind of the anatomy in the city?
I believe we'll have a few debates. I mean, that's the beauty of Portland. We only have the Trailblazers, so when they're not playing, politics is our pro sports. Eventually, oh, you laugh, but it's our reality here.
That's funny.
Um,
Well, you guys are getting an MLS team, though, aren't you?
yeah, that's true. I shouldn't
Yeah.
sleep. No, we have very good soccer. I should not.
Oh, is it already there? I don't get to
Oh,
follow
we
the
have
MLS as
amazing
much as.
soccer.
All
We
right.
have the Timbers and the Thorns here. So I don't want to alienate them. It was more yeah, we are not a place like Philadelphia where you've got hockey, NHL and NFL and ML. I mean, so yeah, so Trailblazers and Timbers and Thorns. But other than that, we do a lot of politics as our pro sports.
Mm-hmm.
And we need to think about, I think, making sure that Wheeler is engaged in this. He's running a very laissez-faire campaign where he's not being held particularly accountable to the public for his failures. And I'm looking forward to debating him. I always love debating him because I'm not scared of him, but I think he's a little scared of me. So
That's a good thing to be. That's what you want. You want the incumbent to fear you.
yeah, I want the status quo to fear me. And in fact, they really are, because I think that's one of the hardest things about renewing democracy is making sure that we are building people power and not just identity power. I don't want to be, um, a placeholder for the progressive politics. I want there to be more like Ada Colau in Barcelona. I don't know if you're following her municipalist movement at all, but what she's really done is tried to build a people's movement that's not about her, but it's about the platform. It's about the progressive politics, and it's about the community capacity building for that progressive change, because we should be able to trade out our leaders pretty effortlessly and still have the movements sustain themselves.
Well, I know you got a hard out at noon, so please take the last few minutes to plug anything else you want to mention regarding the campaign, and of course, remind everybody of where they can find you online.
Yeah, so my website is sarah2020.com. That's Sarah with an H, 2020.com. Folks can donate at my website. There's a donate button there. They can download and listen to my podcast and look through my policies. And by all means, stay in touch with my campaign if you've got ideas about how we can make those things better. Make sure you're donating to things like the Black Resiliency Fund here in Portland that are supporting our communities of color and Black Portlanders through this Black Lives Matter movement. There's a lot of good things going on the ground here in Portland, in addition to my campaign, that Portlanders are making sure that we are moving the needle on progressivism, even when our politicians have a hard time keeping up. So yeah, sarah2020.com. keep your eyes open for all the positive things going on in Portland, in addition to what I call the riot porn that comes out across mainstream media. And stay engaged where you are, because most importantly, like you said, all politics is local and we can all make a difference wherever we are.
Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You can tweet me an article at Ron Placone. We'll go through it together and make it our own. Get your